Every day, millions of believers come in contact with angels without knowing it. While 67% of Americans believe angels exist, most would struggle to identify actual signs of angelic presence in their daily lives. Hebrews chapter 13 verse 2 reminds us, "Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares." In this video, I will share 7 undeniable signs that will help you recognize when angels are operating in your life. Sign 1. Heat sensations. One of the most common signs of angelic presence around you is when you experience unusual warmth or heat sensations, particularly during prayer or worship. This is because angels are attracted to the atmosphere of worship and prayers, and because they gather around you during worship, it is normal to feel heat sensation at that time. Isaiah chapter 6 describes heavenly angelic beings known as the seraphim, which in Hebrew literally means the burning ones. Their presence in God's throne room is connected with fire and intense heat. Jesus said, "Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I am in their midst." When you're worshipping, although your body is physically on earth, you're actually engaging in an activity that connects with heaven itself. Worship creates a spiritual atmosphere that angels naturally respond to, since praise is their constant activity around God's throne. That warmth you feel during deep worship or prayer is because you're literally surrounded by those heavenly beings in that moment. Your physical body is responding to a spiritual reality that your natural eyes can't see. In fact, sometimes this could manifest as goosebumps or the hair on your body standing up. In Job chapter 4, verses 15 to 16, Job describes a spiritual encounter saying, "Then a spirit passed before my face, the hair of my flesh stood up." This wasn't fear. It was his physical body responding to a spiritual presence. Our human spirit can detect supernatural presences, and our physical body often responds with these sensations. Don't dismiss these physical responses. They are your body's natural reaction to supernatural company. Sign 2. Unexplainable peace in chaotic situations. A second powerful sign of angelic presence is experiencing unexplainable peace, particularly in situations where anxiety would be the normal response. This supernatural calm often descends suddenly and doesn't make logical sense given your circumstances. In Daniel chapter 6, when Daniel was thrown into the lion's den, an angel was sent to shut the lions' mouths. While Scripture doesn't explicitly describe Daniel's emotional state, the fact that he could sleep in a den of hungry lions suggests he experienced supernatural peace despite deadly danger. This peace isn't just a pleasant feeling. It's often described as a peace that passes understanding, as Philippians chapter 4 verse 7 states. When you suddenly find yourself calm in a situation that should cause panic, when clarity replaces confusion for no apparent reason, when an overwhelming sense of everything will be okay comes despite evidence to the contrary, angels may be present, creating an atmosphere that reflects God's throne room rather than your earthly circumstances. Sign 3. Unexpected help, followed by sudden disappearance. Another very tangible sign of angelic encounters is receiving unexpected help from strangers, who then seem to vanish or disappear once their task is complete. Angels often appear in human form to deliver specific assistance, then leave immediately after fulfilling their mission. Throughout Scripture, angels appear, deliver their message or help, and then depart. They don't linger for conversation or relationship. They're focused entirely on completing their assignment. Hebrews chapter 13 verse 2 reminds us, "Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares." Think about times when help arrived at exactly the right moment from someone you didn't know. Perhaps a stranger helped change your flat tire on a deserted road, then disappeared before you could properly thank them, or someone gave you exactly the guidance you needed, with information they couldn't possibly have known through natural means. Angels aren't sent to become your friends or ongoing companions. They come for missions, deliver their help or message, and then they're gone. They're not seeking recognition or relationship. They're completely focused on obedience to God's commands. Hebrews chapter 1, verse 14 describes angels as ministering spirits, sent forth to minister for them, who shall be heirs of salvation. The Greek word for minister here is diakonia, which means practical service or attendance to needs. If you've experienced this kind of precise, timely help, followed by an unusual disappearance, you may have encountered an angel without realizing it. Sign 4. Vivid dreams or visions with specific messages. The fourth sign of angelic activity is receiving unusually vivid dreams or visions that contain specific guidance, warnings, or messages. Throughout Scripture, angels frequently communicated through dreams. In Matthew chapter 1, an angel appeared to Joseph in a dream to tell him about Mary's pregnancy. In Matthew chapter 2, another angelic dream warned the wise men not to return to Herod. These weren't just ordinary dreams. They were so vivid and compelling that people immediately acted on the information they received. What distinguishes an angelic dream from a regular dream? Typically, angelic dreams have unusual clarity and remain vivid even after waking. They often contain specific information or instructions rather than the random, confusing imagery of normal dreams. And they frequently leave you with a sense of having genuinely encountered something beyond yourself. The Hebrew word for vision, chizayon, comes from a root meaning to see mentally or to perceive something not visible to natural sight. When Jacob awoke from his dream of a ladder with angels ascending and descending, he made a startling declaration, "Surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it." Like Jacob, many of us experience angelic activity without recognizing it. If you've experienced dreams or visions that provided guidance, that later proved accurate, or that contained information you couldn't have known naturally, you may have received angelic communication. These dreams aren't meant to replace Scripture or become your primary source of guidance. Rather, they typically confirm what God has already been speaking to you through His Word, providing specific application or timing for principles already established in Scripture. Sign 5. Divine protection or interventions that defy explanation. The fifth sign of angelic presence involves experiencing protection or intervention that simply can't be explained by natural means. Near misses, split-second rescues, or being inexplicably redirected from danger often signal angelic involvement. Psalm 91 verse 11 promises, "For he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways." Angels are assigned to protect believers, often in ways we don't immediately recognize. Think about times when you narrowly avoided an accident. Perhaps you felt an unexplainable urge to slow down just before rounding a corner where an obstacle waited. Maybe you felt compelled to change your normal routine, only to later discover your usual path involved danger. Or perhaps you experienced a situation where physical laws seemed temporarily suspended, like objects that should have hit you somehow missing by impossible margins. Daniel's 3 friends in the fiery furnace experienced this kind of protection when a fourth figure appeared, with them in the flames. Elisha's servant saw the surrounding hills filled with angelic armies when his eyes were spiritually opened. These dramatic interventions continue today, though we often attribute them to luck or coincidence, rather than recognizing the angelic protection at work. Sign 6. Sudden insights or knowledge beyond natural understanding. The sixth sign of angelic presence involves receiving sudden insights, knowledge, or understanding that goes beyond what you could have known through natural means. Angels often bring messages that include information impossible to obtain through human reasoning or research. In Acts chapter 27, Paul received angelic information about the survival of everyone on his ship, despite a devastating storm. In Daniel chapters 8 and 9, the angel Gabriel came specifically to give Daniel understanding about visions he had received. Angels frequently function as messengers bringing divine insight. Their primary function is often to deliver information from God to humans. This might manifest as a sudden understanding of a scripture that previously confused you, unexpected clarity about a decision, or knowledge about a situation you couldn't have known naturally. These insights typically arrive with unusual clarity and certainty. They're not the result of logical deduction or careful analysis. They simply appear in your understanding as if placed there directly. If you've experienced these moments of unexpected illumination, particularly when struggling with an important decision or trying to understand God's will, you may have received angelic assistance. The final sign of angelic presence is receiving supernatural encouragement precisely when you're at your lowest point. Angels often appear when God's people are exhausted, afraid, or ready to give up. In 1 Kings chapter 19, when Elijah was so discouraged he wanted to die, an angel appeared with food, rest, and encouragement. In the Garden of Gethsemane, when Jesus was in deep distress, Luke chapter 22 verse 43 tells us, "There appeared an angel unto him from heaven, strengthening him." This angelic strengthening often comes as an unmistakable lift to your spirit when you've reached the end of your resources. It might manifest as a sudden surge of courage when you were ready to quit, unexpected joy in the midst of grief, or renewed strength when you felt completely depleted. The Hebrew word for strengthen used in many angelic encounters is chazak, which means to make firm, strengthen, or fortify. Unlike human encouragement, which might temporarily boost your mood but fades quickly, angelic encouragement produces lasting effects that enable you to continue your journey or mission even through difficult circumstances. Understanding these 7 signs of angelic presence isn't about becoming angel-focused rather than God-focused. Angels always point to God, never to themselves. They're servants carrying out His purposes, not independent agents seeking worship or attention. The proper response to recognizing angelic activity isn't to pray to angels or try to summon them. Rather, it's to thank God for His care expressed through these heavenly messengers. Angels are evidence of God's detailed attention to your life and His commitment to supporting your spiritual journey. Thank you for watching. If you love our videos, please feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel.